Hi, my name is Ella, and guess what time it is? It's cookie time! This year, I'm planning on selling 200 boxes or more. Please help supporting my troop by buying 1 boxes or maybe even 2 if you want to. My troop is planning on going on an exciting trip and helping my community. Please help support me by buying 1 box or more. Bye!
What's up, everyone? Welcome to This Day in Philly Sports History for January 30th, 2025. I'm your host, Jim Montgomery. Welcome to a Thursday edition of the podcast. We got a lot to get to today, but buy the cookies from Ella. You heard her. Support her troop. All the information you need is in the description for that. Be sure to follow me on social media, Jimbo_Mont on Twitter and TikTok, at Philly Jimbo on Instagram. Subscribe to the YouTube channel, Jimbo_Mont. Continue to spread the word. I'm still debating whether or not to just switch all of my usernames, if I can, to Philly Jimbo. I think it'd be easier. But stay tuned for that. But subscribe to the YouTube channel. Spread the word. Let's continue to grow this thing. Be sure to check out my boys at the On Pattison newsletter. Lots of good things, good takes, good articles in there delivered right to your inbox every day. We're featured in there once or twice a week, so doing good things over there. And if you're interested in a Super Bowl block pool, there's a fundraiser for the Philadelphia Sports Hall of Fame. I put the link in the description for that as well. Just follow the link and the instructions. It takes you right to the site. But just a way for us to make a little bit, raise a little bit of funds for the Philadelphia Sports Hall of Fame. So if you're interested in that, that is in the description as well. All right. So again, not going to do what everybody thinks I'm going to do right now. It's taking everything in my being not to do it. But your Sixers are now winners of 4 straight, beating the Kings yesterday 117-104. Shorthanded, Tyrese Maxey with 30 points, gotten themselves back into the playoff race for the play-in tournament. Again, not sure if that's what we want or not, but this 4-win streak is pretty impressive considering it's come against either playoff teams over 500 or the Bulls, who are ahead of them currently in the standings. So this was supposed to be a rough patch, hard stretch for the Sixers based on who they were playing. They've won 4 in a row shorthanded without Paul George, without Joel, who both worked out on court yesterday. So I don't know what that means moving forward, but I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it yet. However, they play the Nuggets tomorrow, Boston on Sunday. If they win both of those games, I might be back on. So we'll see what happens. But Sixers 117-104 over the Sacramento Kings yesterday. A couple quick things with the Sixers. Missed this the other day. Former owner Hal Katz passed away. Was responsible or is responsible for the Sixers' last championship. I know him and Charles didn't necessarily get along too much at the end, but I do remember once they retired Charles Barkley's number, he had good things to say about Harold Katz. But condolences to the Katz family as Harold Katz passed away earlier this week, former owner of the Sixers. And this is why I'm not going to do what everybody thinks I'm going to do today after the Sixers winning 4 in a row. Saw a stat yesterday. In Joel Embiid's career, he has missed now, including yesterday, 401 games. He's played in 446. That's a pretty crazy, borderline ridiculous stat. Again, I know, and I stick up for Joe all the time. I think a lot of the injuries and times he's missed have been because of freak, weird injuries, but that was just to see it in print like that was just very telling. But they still won 4 in a row. So who knows what's going to happen with Joe and the Sixers moving forward. But I'm teetering here. I'm teetering. I'm learning my lessons a little bit. I'm not jumping on yet. But I might be close. I'm just throwing that out there. Flyers, unfortunately, did not have a good of a time as the Sixers did. I guess Joshua Harris got his revenge, so to speak. 5-0 Devils beat the Flyers yesterday. They gave up the Little League period, giving up 4 goals in the second, but no time to mourn as they're back home tonight against the Islanders, looking to bounce back and get back on the winning side. We actually have some Phillies news. It's less than 2 weeks for pitchers and catchers. It's going to be a busy week for Philly sports as the Eagles play in the Super Bowl, and then later that week, pitchers and catchers report to Clearwater. Cannot wait. It means it's simple that the weather is going to start getting a little bit nicer, maybe not as cold. But Jose Alvarado, I saw this on a couple different places yesterday, had a post on his Instagram of him working out. It looks very, very good. Definitely lost some weight, looks very toned. Whether or not that translates onto the pitching mound or not, I don't know. But the way this team is constructed going into this year, it's all about pitching for them. So every little bit's going to help. But Jose Alvarado looks good in his workouts. So we'll see how that and what that does. But Phillies news, it's going to start trickling in as we get closer here to pitchers and catchers. Be sure to check out the Clash and Conferences podcast, available wherever you get your podcasts as well as on YouTube. Good things happening with their sports fan network. Good guys over there. And the way they have everything set up is awesome. So today is the day that the new NFC East post comes out. Looking forward to that. And then go to Philly Goat. I told you pitchers and catchers are around the corner. Sixers have won 4 in a row. Get ready for the Super Bowl. There's no guarantee you're going to get your gear now, but go to Philly Goat and get it to celebrate for a possible parade or just wear in front of the office to annoy your coworkers. Go to Philly Goat. They got you covered. Phillies, Sixers, Flyers, Union are on the horizon. They have you covered for that as well. Use that promo code Jim Montgomery to take 10% off your order. That's phillygoat.com. Promo code Jim Montgomery to take 10% off of your order and get geared up for the Phils, get geared up for the Sixers, and of course, to celebrate the Super Bowl with the Eagles. All right, so speaking of the Eagles, let's start with a recap of yesterday's question of the day. I asked you, are you going to go out and buy NFC Champions gear? For me, it's a jinx. I have not had good luck with that. And to me, I got my eye on a bigger prize. But 60% of you said, yes, I'm going out and buying NFC Champions gear. And good for you. I'm waiting. I'm either going to Philly Goat or I will wait for the official Super Bowl champion gear. But thank you, as always, for participating in the question of the day. We'll have another one later here in the show. And first thing I had on my rundown sheet for today sort of was covered yesterday in the On Pattison newsletter. I guess great minds think alike. But I was thinking about this and was doing the research, and kudos to them for doing a lot of the research for me. But I'm taking it a little bit different direction than what they had. They were talking about the legacy of this team, and they broke it down from 2000, the teams that have been in the Super Bowl, multiple winning, and other than the Patriots and the Chiefs, the Eagles have been in the most Super Bowls since the year 2000, which is still to this day bizarre for me to even say those words. But I wanted to discuss the possibility of like this as not quite a dynasty like the Patriots and Chiefs, but this is dynasty-esque, this run that the Eagles are on. And, I mean, if they win next week, that would be 3 Super Bowls within 8 seasons, which is pretty good. I mean, it's not like the Patriots or the Chiefs with the dynasties. It's not the 49ers or even the Steelers, although the Steelers in the 70s won 4 of 6. But I dove back into it, and I figured a good place to start would be the year 2000. And that's when the league expanded to 32 teams and got us to where we are. It's when the Browns came back and the Texans as well. But other than the 2 dynasties, the Chiefs and the Patriots, only one team has had a similar run in the same amount of years or similar amount of years as the Eagles. And that was the Steelers from 2005 to 2010. They went to 3 Super Bowls in 6 years and won 2 of them. So to me, if the Eagles win this, they're right up there as one of the, and it's going to get overlooked because it's not a dynasty. But I mean, it's a hell of a run here. And I guess the thing is, it's dynasty-esque in the sense that this team wouldn't be done yet. This window on this team would not be closed. So who knows what the next couple seasons hold. And if you really think back, 2022, they were in the Super Bowl. 2023, they were 10-1 at one point, and then we saw what they did this year back in the Super Bowl. So to think that this could be a budding dynasty, I don't think is out of the question. And as an Eagles fan, something I never really thought that I would ever be talking about. But if they win 3 Super Bowls in 8 seasons, since 2002, the only team that has come close to that other than the Patriots and Chiefs were that Steelers in the run. Now, if you go back to the 70s and 80s, there was a couple teams that had runs that were similar. Washington from the late 70s into the early 80s. The Dolphins won 2 of 3. The Steelers won 4 of 6. The Vikings made it there 4 times in 7 years, lost all of them. The Raiders had a solid run from the late 70s into the early 80s. But really, modern times, since the league has expanded to 32 teams, only one team other than not named the Patriots and the Chiefs had a run like this, and that was the 2005 to 2010 Steelers with Ben Roethlisberger. They won the one with Jerome Bettis. They beat the Cardinals the year the Eagles should have won, and then lost to the Packers. But I mean, I'm not saying that this is going to be a dynasty if they win, but it's a dynasty-esque. And like I said, with the way the future and the way this team is constructed, it's not out of the realm of possibilities that there could be more. Obviously, we need to win this one first to even be having this discussion. But even to have the discussion with one, because like one out of that many years isn't quite as impressive, but you win multiple, and you start having those discussions. So something that, like I said, I had on my agenda, but I saw that it was in the On Patterson newsletter. They broke down all kinds of stats. The one thing that did stick out for me is since 2000, only the Eagles, Chiefs, and Patriots have been to 4 or more Super Bowls, which again is just, it blows my mind that as an Eagles fan, this is what we're talking about. But good stuff from On Patterson. As I say, go check them out. And if they're listening, hey man, obviously we have similar mindsets, so I'd be open for a paid gig, if you will. But like I said, we're on the verge or in the middle of something special here, and I don't look at this as the end point, especially like I said, with the way this team has been constructed, the way that Nick Sirianni has led this team since he took over. I mean, the sky's the limit. I look at this as just a point in this whole run, and I think when they win, winning 2 in 8 years, being in 3 in 8 years, all of a sudden you're one of the elite teams, and you can make the argument, as On Patterson did, that other than the Chiefs and the Patriots, the Eagles are the next team. Like, they're above the other 29 teams. So you got those 2 teams in the past 25 years, the Eagles, and then everyone else. I mean, and it's hard to argue that with the success. Again, you can put the Steelers in there, but like, I don't know. It's just like the Eagles have been far more consistent over those 20 years than the Steelers. So, I mean, I think, like I said, I totally agree with that. You go Patriots, Chiefs, Eagles, maybe you put the Steelers there on that next line and then start with everybody else. But, I mean, Jeffrey Lurie said the gold standard, and he certainly lived up to it. But the Eagles are back to practice today. They have a few practices the rest of this week, leaving for New Orleans on Sunday, and that's when the fun begins, media days and all kinds of craziness. No word yet on whether Kellen Moore is getting the job in New Orleans. However, he is considered the favorite. And even though he's going to be in the same building, the same offices where he would work, They're not allowed to contact him, not allowed to, nothing will become official until after the Super Bowl. But get me to game day. But that does lead to today's question of the day. And there's a couple different ways to go with this. It's kind of like a slow time in the Super Bowl buildup. Trust me when I say starting Sunday, things are going to ramp up. But as of today, what are you more concerned about in the Super Bowl? Is it Kelsey and Mahomes or the Chiefs' defense? I think I'm more worried about the defense. I think somehow our defense is going to figure out a way. I trust Vic Fangio. He's done nothing but prove me right. And in replaying some of that game against Washington, I do think some of that underneath stuff was game flow related, and that's why Ertz was able to be so productive because they were throwing a ton and they were chasing. So I think it's a testament to our secondary, and you kind of dropping guys back and playing soft, and I would think that's why. And then that's not taking anything away from Travis Kelce. But I think the defense, because a lot has been made about the Chiefs not giving up a 100-yard rusher in the postseason in 18 or 21 games or something crazy like that. So that is my biggest concern. But what do you think? Are you more concerned about the Chiefs offense or the Chiefs defense right now on Thursday, January 30th? 267-495-8531. That'll get you into the Back to the Future voice and text line. You can also vote on any of my social media accounts. But let me know what you think. All right, today we're going to go back to 2002. And on this day in 2002, the Flyers went into the All-Star break on a sour note, losing to the Ottawa Senators 3-1 up in Ottawa. But recent Hall of Fame inductee Jeremy Roenick scored the sole goal for the Flyers. Sole goal. Say that. The only goal for the Flyers, and it was his 1,000th career point. He became the 63rd player in NHL history to score 1,000 points. Just the 4th U.S.-born player to do that. And JR was only in Philly for 3 years, but instantly became a fan favorite for the way he played, the way he wasn't afraid to speak his mind. Had 173 total points in his 3 seasons here. He had that great playoff goal to send the Flyers to the Eastern Conference Finals, but he was inducted into the National Hockey Hall of Fame this year, or Hockey Hall of Fame, I think it's called. But Jeremy Roenick scored his 1,000th point on this day in 2002 in the Flyers' 3-1 loss to the Ottawa Senators heading into the All-Star break. All right, we're winding down our forgiveness here. And today we have another pair that I debated doing each one separate, but I think these two are so connected that he had to do both of them. And today, we're going to forgive Donovan McNabb and Terrell Owens. Donovan's the greatest quarterback in Eagles history. I don't think there's any questions about that. Terrell Owens came in 2004, had 1,200 yards in 12 games, 14 touchdowns before the horse collar injury from Roy Williams. With Donovan, he never warmed up to the Philly fans after being booed. Terrell was a fan favorite from his first play in preseason. And I think that rubbed Donovan the wrong way a lot of the times. But with Donovan, 8 playoff appearances in his time in Philly, 5 division titles, 5 NFC championship games, the 1 Super Bowl, 9 postseason wins, at the top or near the top in all of the Eagles passing categories. You had your low throws, the smile with the my bad, but I still think he had one of the best deep balls, I think. For some reason, he was able to have that touch, couldn't hit a little short screen pass to save his life, but had one of the best arms on a deep ball that I've seen. Terrell Owens, though, again, just amazing, and I just keep going back to what could have been. But the thing with both of them that gets me is their egos got in the way of greatness. We're sitting here earlier talking about the dynasties and dynasty-esque that the Eagles could be on. This Eagles team could have been a dynasty if they could have just gotten their egos in check. T.O. did not handle the whole situation well. Acted like a child doing the sit-ups in his yard, being held out, suspended, or holding out, being suspended, fined. Press conferences in his driveway. Again, handled it like a child. On Donovan's side, though, equally, but in a different way, handled it like a child. I mean, yes, you're the company poster child. You're the mouthpiece for Andy and Joe Banner and those guys. But even if you didn't believe it, come out and say pay the man. I mean, look at your numbers with and then without him. The numbers with him were just historic numbers. And I feel like what could have been with Donovan if he just reached out and spoke out and said pay him. He did it for Brian Westbrook, and that's what pissed T.O. off. Again, T.O. did not handle it the right way at all, acting like a little baby doing his sit-ups. And then, of course, you're going to get blowback when you wear a Michael Irvin jersey. You're going to get blowback when you knew what you were saying when you said the thing about Brett Favre, we beat undefeated, this, that. They still fight to this day, and it's a shame because the egos got in the way. And I just keep going back and thinking about what could have been with this team. And this one's a hard one for me because I'm getting fired up just thinking about it because it pisses me off that both of them handled it so poorly. And I think both of them had a point on one way or the other, but you guys acted like little kids. You let your egos get in the way. And I'm not going to get that fired up, though. I'm starting to. But this is about forgiveness, and this is a big one, especially heading into the Super Bowl with these two guys. So Donovan and T.O., I'm going to forgive you today. I'm going to forgive you for not being able to make it work out. I'm going to forgive you for letting your egos get in the way of greatness. Donovan, you'd be a surefire Hall of Famer if your ego did not get in the way of the whole T.O. thing, even if you didn't mean it. T.O., you could have spent the rest of your career here if you could have just not acted like a baby and just said, okay. And instead of going through the media and holding out and doing press conferences on your driveway, talk to McNabb. I don't know if he was open to it or not. Who knows? But to go in the media, you lose your credibility. But guys, I forgive you both for that. I forgive you for what could have been. It was a great run in 2004 and half of 2005. But I forgive both of you for letting your egos get in the way and ruining what could have been a dynastic run. T.O., you weren't here that long, but that year was incredible. Number 5, you will always love me. I will always love you. And that is why I'm forgiving you both for that whole 1.5, 2-year period when T.O. and Donovan just cannot make it work. Whew, I feel better getting that off my chest. That was a tough one and a hard one for me. Tomorrow we have one last final forgiveness that we're going to do. Hopefully this one will be the one that puts us over the top and brings that good karma for the Eagles. But T.O., Donovan, I forgive you. On this day in 2002, Jeremy Roenick scored his 1,000th career point in the Flyers' 3-1 loss to the Ottawa Senators. Roenick was only here for 3 years, but made the most of it and is still a fan favorite to this day. Be sure to let me know your thoughts on the question of the day. You more worried about the Chiefs offense or the Chiefs defense? 267-495-8531. That'll get you into the Back to the Future voice and text line. Be sure to go to Philly Goat, buy the gear, celebrate. And again, I'm almost there. I don't want to do it. I want to see how this weekend goes with the Sixers. But your team, your town, your 76ers, 4 straight games against 4 pretty quality opponents. And they're shorthanded. I'm just saying. This has been This Day in Philly Sports History for January 30th, 2025. My name is Jim Montgomery. Go have yourselves a Thursday. And until next time, I'll see you when I see you.